Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Steam Achievement Hunting Perfect Game video. I don't know exactly the words to use. But anyways, I've made two videos talking about my perfect games on Steam already. When I got to 100, I made a video of the first 100. And when I got to 200, I made a video of the next 200. And both of those videos did pretty well. Did very well, actually. I think the first one might be like my most viewed video. So the links to both of those will be in the description. And basically, what I did was I went through each of my perfect games at that point. So in the first one, I went through the first 100, like number 1 through 100. And then in the second video, I went through number like 101 through 200. And basically gave a brief description of the games. Some of them more brief than others. Some of them I talked for a few minutes. Some of them I talked about for 1 second. But basically, today I'm doing it at 250. I know the first two were at each 100 point, but today I'm doing it at a 50 point because that'll give me the opportunity to talk a bit more about each one. So, yeah, today I'm going to be going through numbers 201 through 250 on Steam and telling you what I think about them. So now, I'll be going back to my Steam Hunters profile. As you can see, 250 completed games. I don't know which ones are removed. I don't know what that even means. And yeah, so I'll be going through numbers 201 through 250. So let's just go ahead and get started with that. Last time, if you all remember, if you all think back to last time, because I'm sure you all watched that video and memorized it front to back, number 200 was Maximum Override. And now I'm lagging my page. If you don't know what this game is, then you're right there along with every single other person. So go watch the last video if you want to know about this or anything above it or anything in the first 200. But yeah, today, let's just go ahead and get started with these ones. So, first off, we got Final Fantasy. This is the pixel remaster of Final Fantasy 1. By the way, my playtime is in this column right here. And then there's like the fastest anybody's done it, and median is the median amount of time it takes somebody to do. And then the percentage, what percent of people have it 100% complete. So anyways, this is the Pixel Remaster Final Fantasy 1. The first 6 game Pixel Remasters are all on Steam. Spoiler alert, but I've played the second one as well. That'll be actually pretty far down here towards the end. But I did like both of them. I like the first one and the second one. This is the first one, so I'll talk about the second one when I get to it. There are guides you can follow online that kind of help you, like on PSN profiles, that kind of guide you through without, well, I guess there's not a lot of, like, puzzles or anything, really. Like, most of Final Fantasy is just go from point A to point B, fight some people, etc., and, like, finding chests. Really, finding the chests is what the guide is good for, and also, I don't remember specifically about the first one, but I remember the second one, there's, like, passphrases or whatever that were missable. And some of the monsters were missable. I don't remember if that was the case in the first game. I think it was, though. So this is pretty straightforward. I was actually a bit above median on this one. Because I don't know, I didn't really follow the guide until, like, towards the end. Because I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. But yeah, this is a fun game. And I'll talk about the second one when I get there. This one, if you see the date, this might not mean anything to anybody watching this. I actually played most of this during, like, mid-October last year. And if any of you follow the MLB, I'm a Yankees fan, and so I kind of a lot of my playtime for this game came during the ALCS last year, Yankees Guardians, and so I was like, I had like maybe that's part of the reason my playtime's above median is I had like 75% of my attention on the game, on the baseball game, and like 25% of my attention at most on Final Fantasy. So thinking back on this game reminds me a lot of those games, and like Big Christmas home run off of Luke Weaver in Game 3, and so some mixed memories there, but mostly good, I guess, because the Yankees did win that series. But yeah, so that's what I think about when I think of this game. Okay, next we got a streak of pretty crappy ones, so I'll try to go fast maybe. If I need to restate this, a lot of the games I've platinumed on Steam were in bundles, and apparently Humble Bundle does a lot of kids games bundles, because next up we got JoJo's Siwa Worldwide Party. I don't really remember the specifics of this one. I feel like it was maybe like you run along a path and you have to like collect stuff as you run. I don't know if that's exactly true. All these kids games are pretty similar and like very. There's not a lot of gameplay. I want to say it was just like running along a track and collecting stuff. That could be wrong, but I don't know. That's really all I have to say about that one. After that, we got Rainbow High Runway Rush. That's just too many R's to say in a row. I mean, I can't believe I got that out in one breath. But anyhow, this is another kids game. Basically, you're just running around a school, and like I don't remember anything about it other than that. Like I literally don't even remember what the achievements were or like how you play or anything. I feel like it's kind of just 90% of it is running from point A to point B, and that's it. Um, so yeah, one good thing about these about the kids games is that there's pretty much never missable achievements. So that's helpful. And you don't really need a guide. Like the achievements are generally very straightforward. As you can see, though, in these kids games, my median tends to be, or my playtime tends to be higher than the median or right around it. Whereas for most other games, I'm faster. So maybe I just suck at kids games. I don't know. But after that, we got Nightbook. This is an FMV game, which is like the games where you're watching like real pre-recorded footage, and it's basically like a Telltale game, except it's pre-recorded footage instead of like computer animation. And so these games tend to be shorter, as you can see from the playtime, because it's like they had to physically record all of these different scenarios, so that you can't realistically make like a Detroit Become Human type game with real video, because that'd be like several feature-length movies. Like that's not possible. So yeah, I don't know. These kind of suck. Humble has done a number of FMV bundles too. If you watched the last video of this, or even the first one, I don't know. Throughout my list, I have a number of FMV games. Most of them are kind of boring, but I tend to do them just because they're pretty quick and easy platinums. After that, we got Bratz Flaunt Your Fashion. Sorry that I keep pulling these up, but like I don't remember. Oh, I kind of do remember this one. This one was like there's a few different open world. Well, not really open worlds, but there's a few like. There's like 4 different areas that you run around, and I just feel like you have to collect stuff, and like sometimes one person will be like, here's an item, and then you have to, somebody in a different area is like, boy, I need this specific item, and it's like, well, that's convenient, I just got it from this other person, and then you give it to them. There's also like, I don't know, man. That's about all I remember from this. I feel like there might have been mini games, but if there were, I don't remember what they were. After that, we got I Saw Black Clouds. This is another FMV game. If I'm going to be honest with you. So Nightbook, the story was like there's a book that you find and it's like haunted and nobody believes you that it's haunted and then like everybody dies. I think that's pretty much the premise of that one. I Saw Black Clouds. Literally do not remember a single detail of the story in this game. So I could not tell you what it's about. But yeah, that's about all I can tell you. I literally, it's almost like, so I just accidentally went, I didn't open an extra tab. I literally, oh, okay, look at I actually do remember stuff looking at these achievements now. This is a weird one where, so for most, like choice-based games, you're starting under the same premise, and then your choices lead you to different paths, but they all start the same. Shut up, Gemini and Google Chrome. So what's weird about this one is that your choices retroactively change the premise of the story. Like, as you can see, one of these achievements is like discover a supernatural story. Like I want to say from one of the choices you make early changes whether what the story's about. Like I think I don't remember the details to be honest, but I feel like some of the early choices you make it turn out that like this is a ghost type situation. But if you make a different choice early, it turns out that it's like a dude who's evil. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense, if you understand what I'm saying, but I just thought that was weird, and that's at least worth mentioning for that game, because I don't remember specifics, but I did think that was at least a little something new. I don't want to say a positive, because it was kind of just like a neutral thing, but anyways, after that we got 8-Bit Adventure Anthology Volume 1. I think these are old games that are, like 3 old games that are put together. It's basically just a point-and-click game. It appears like it would be from Oh, here we go. Yeah, released between 1987 and 1991. So yeah, it's literally just 8-bit point-and-click games. 3 of them. And, sorry, I have hiccups all of a sudden. The achievements are just for doing, like, specific stuff and clicking on specific stuff. So if you follow a guide for the achievements, it's pretty easy. After that, we got 7 Billion Humans. If you remember Human Resource Machine from the last video, or actually, yeah, that would have been from the 200 episode. This is basically the same game as that. I think it's probably a sequel, and basically it's like a coding game where it's basically Scratch. If you guys know Scratch, the programming website, where it's block-based code, and you basically just have to do Scratch like puzzles in Scratch basically to get these little guys to do what you want them to do. It's very very easy. Um, so yeah. Anyways, after that we got South Park Snow Day. Now this game's very polarizing. Um, the general consensus is that it kind of sucks. As you can see from the reviews, it's mixed. Especially compared to the first two, Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole. Um, Most people say this one sucks, and I don't like. I didn't think this was a horrible game. I also don't have the other two South Park games platinumed. I have played them, but there's like so many missables in those games that I don't know. It just feels like a kind of a chore to platinum them. This is also a pretty short one, only 8 hours, 8.5 hours. But yeah, this one's like a shooter game, and it's also like a roguelike, if I recall correctly, where there's like 4 or 5 levels, and you just it's basically roguelike where you're getting like new cards for new skills as you go through each level, and it is a pretty easy platinum. Some of the achievements are kind of like really niche stuff, and a couple of, at least one of them does require you to get a specific upgrade as you go. But most of these are pretty easy. This was a pretty easy one. There's a couple about doing the boss fights that are a bit specific stuff you have to do, which is a bit hard. And some of them are grindy, like this vampire one. It's actually harder than you'd think to find 10 vampire kids. Oh, there is one achievement. This one, make no mistake, this game was not released in 2008. It was released in 2024. But you wouldn't be amiss, or you'd be forgiven, let's say, because I don't really know what amiss means. You'd be forgiven to think that this game came out in 2008 because it has an achievement for playing with somebody else with this achievement. I know Borderlands, the first Borderlands game, had an achievement like that. Basically, this game is multiplayer if you want it to be. You can do everything else solo besides this achievement, though. And basically, in order to get this achievement, you have to play a game with somebody who has this achievement. So that's kind of annoying. Also, when I played this game, literally nobody was playing it anymore. So I did have to, I think I posted on the Steam forums, or maybe somebody else made a post that was like, hey, if you need this achievement, leave a comment. And so I friended a dude on Steam who had this achievement, started a game with him, and then that was it. And that's how I got that achievement. So that is a little bit annoying. I know multiplayer achievements are already a point of contention, let alone one where you have to kind of go out of your way outside of the game to find somebody to do it with. So that's the only thing I would advise, I guess, if you're considering doing this game. Also, the fact that it's not a very good game, but I don't think it's horrible or anything. I just think compared to the first two South Park major game releases, people were just underwhelmed by this one. After that, we got 2 more kids games. Bluey the video game. Again, the humble bundles, folks. I'm not paying for these a la carte, I promise. Because also some of these games are outrageously expensive, on their own. Out of a humble bundle, you get maybe 10 games for $10 of these kids games type. But some of these are crazy expensive. I don't know how much this is on Steam. I don't know if it says on here. Is there an easy way for me to pull that up? I don't know. All I know is some of these kids games are outrageously expensive. But I can't even find it. I don't even know if you can go there on here. Anyways, I don't know how much. I don't know that this one's really expensive. I'm just using this as an example. But some of these kids games are way more expensive than you would pay for in real life if you were buying them on your own. But basically, this one you kind of just walk around the house, and then there's a beach and stuff, and you just have to there's a few collectibles and stuff. I think I know a lot of these kids games are there's no real gameplay. It's kind of just walking around and talking to people and bringing stuff from point A to point B, and that's the game. So that's why it's kind of hard for me to describe these. But that's about the gist of that one. Then we got Nick Jr. Party Adventure. This one, you kind of walk along man, these are kind of hard to explain. But you basically your character is walking along a path, and there's an obstacle in his way, so you have to move it out of the way, and then he'll walk past it. But then there are 2 that go together. So when you move this one down, this one will go up. So then he'll be blocked by that one, and say, oh, we got to switch it back, and then he can walk past that one. That's basically the whole game. Some of the stuff is actually like dragging, like he stands on the platform and then like, oh, gotta drag him over here. But it's very simple like that. There's a few different Nickelodeon franchises being put together here. Paw Patrol, Bubble Guppies, Blaze. Who is Santiago? Is that the pirate dude? And Dora and Blue's Clues. Those are all the franchises. I know you guys are all really wanted to know that. Anyways, next up, we got She Sees Red. Oh my god, these FMV games and their tongue-twisting... Or no, it was actually Rainbow High Runway Rush that I said was hard to say. These games and their kind of hard titles to say if you have... Maybe you have a speech impediment. I don't think I do, but I used to at least, so maybe I still do. Anyways, She Sees... I want to say She Sees Red, but that's clearly not right. She Sees Red. This is another FMV game. This one I literally cannot tell you anything about. The other one I remembered a little bit once I clicked on it. This one I got nothing, man. Don't remember the story of this one at all. There's one for eliminating drugs. So that's like... I don't remember this, but I don't know why the word eliminate would be used there. Anyhow, after that we got My Big Sister. This is like an indie pixel 2D game. It's kind of like a puzzle game. You kind of just walk around and do stuff. Don't really remember more than that. I do remember this game this game I think is marked as Steam Deck compatible or at least or verified, maybe compatible. It's definitely not marked as Steam Deck not supported, but when I tried to play this one on Steam Deck, it would just crash immediately. Like I couldn't get past the main menu, so I ended up playing this one not on Steam Deck. So if you're, I don't know if that's just a me thing or what the problem with that was, but this one is not marked as this is marked as it works on Steam Deck, but it didn't for me. So just that's a heads up if anybody's interested in playing that. I also think this was free or it was given away at some point, like years ago. Because I didn't get my first achievement. I started this game like a couple years maybe before I actually, like the first time I played this game was maybe a couple years before I got these achievements, and that's when it didn't work on Steam Deck. And then I'm like, oh, whatever. I just forgot about it. And so then I finally came back to it. But I think I got this game for free or something. I don't remember how, or maybe for very cheap. Anyways, after that we got Matchbox Driving Adventures. This is basically a racing game. I want to say some of the achievements in this game sucked. But the game itself is like fine for what it is, and the fact that it comes in like, I think it came in a kids game bundle, and it's like, there's at least gameplay. It's literally just racing around a track, but it's like, at least there's something to that. It was grindy. There's nothing hard. It was just kind of grindy to get all the vehicles or whatever. I don't remember why, though. Honestly, I couldn't tell you the specifics of this. I just remember it being kind of grindy at the end of having to do basically a bunch of the same races over and over. I mean, I still only had less than 4 hours of playtime. Yeah, honestly, I don't remember specifically. I just remember it being grindy at the end. After that, we got Creepy Tale 2. I did Creepy Tale 1 a while ago, like I think last summer, like 2024. It was in the 200 episode of this. Basically, this very similar game. This one's a good bit longer than the first one, though. It's just another point-and-click game. There's like puzzles where you have to get items and stuff. I did use a guide for this one for the achievements because there's a few like specific things you have to use when you walk past, and I didn't want to miss stuff and have to replay it. Basically, by the way, if anybody's wondering, as far as guide usage, I never use a guide to like play the game. Like I never, like for Creepy Tale 2, for instance, I didn't use a guide to like what's the answer to the puzzles, because at that point it's like I feel like you're taking away actually playing the game, and at that point you're just doing it for the achievements. Which a lot of these, make no mistake, probably most of these I never would have played if it weren't for the achievements. But I am at least playing the game. I'm not just like, oh, here's a guide, let me follow this step by step. Here's the platinum. Okay, I'm done. Like I'm playing these because of the achievements, but I am playing them. So for the most part, I only use guides for achievements. For most games, before I start them, I look for a guide just to see if there is anything missable, and if there is, I try to find the least spoilery guide possible on just make sure I stay on track and don't miss anything. Because I try to be as efficient as possible, but not just fly through it. You know what I mean? Anyways, after that we got LOL Surprise, BB is Born to Travel. Yeah, this is another kids game. Obviously, this is basically just Overcooked, if you know the game Overcooked. I personally kind of hate Overcooked because it's like insanely hard. I talked about it for a minute at the end of my first 100 video of this. But this is a kid's game, so this is like Overcooked for babies, basically, and it's like really easy. Like I don't think I failed anything once the entire time. So this is a really easy one. It's kind of this is the best way to describe this is that it's Overcooked for babies. So moving on now. All right, so now we're getting into. Honestly, these are all real games in a row. Crazy. So I know a lot of those were stupid ones that nobody cares about. So here we go. First big one of this video, we got the remastered Oblivion that just came out this past spring. Now, here's the point of contention, folks. When this game came out, a lot of people were sharing their, oh, look, here's my platinum for this game. And anybody who had like a playtime of like under 50 hours, people were like, you idiot. You didn't really enjoy the game. You just sped through it to get the achievements. I imagine that's how they talk. It was in text form, so I don't know that to be true. And this was before I even did it, because as you can see, I did it almost a month after it came out. So I just like to rebut the people who say that. Because, listen, I had played Oblivion before, years and years ago. I actually didn't remember much about it. But the achievements in this game are not nearly as in-depth as like Skyrim is, for instance. Basically, all the achievements in this game are just beat the main story and then beat each of the guild main quest lines. Which is not... Obviously, there's so much in the game that you're not doing if all you're doing is the stuff to get the achievements. Which, yeah, that's true. But, like, I'd played Oblivion before. I wasn't super interested in playing this to, like, go super in-depth and... you know, explore every nook and cranny. I was kind of like, well, let me just go through the main stuff. Maybe I'll come back to it eventually. But yeah, the median is 66. Like, you can very easily do a lot more than this, but I wouldn't even say that I rushed through this. Like, I did go basically from guild to guild. Like, I wasn't doing a lot of just whatever stuff in between. But, like, I think if you really sweated this out and you were like, I'm going to do this as fast as humanly possible, I think you could do literally 15, maybe sub 15 hours. So, like, by no means was I absolutely blowing through everything just to blow through it. I was just focusing on doing the stuff that I needed for the achievements. But, yeah, and I'd played Oblivion before, and I played, the original Oblivion probably 12 years ago now or something like that. So, like I said, I didn't remember a lot from it. But when I played it then, I did actually, like, do more stuff, because there wasn't even achievements for the original Oblivion. Anyways, after that we got Far Cry 3, another real game. Again, kind of shorter playtime, though. Actually way below median for this one, which is kind of surprising. I'm sure everybody's played Far Cry 3. I did have this one on... I also have this platinum on PlayStation. If you guys watched the video I made a few months ago of my PlayStation Platinums, I talked about this on there. This is a really fun game, and it's also a very, I don't want to say easy, but a very straightforward platinum. Like, if you're getting into achievement hunting on Steam, this would be one I would recommend to do, because it is very straightforward. I don't know that there's anything missable. For the most part, it's just play through the main story and then clean up the collectibles at the end. Everything gets marked on your map at the end, so you can pretty easily do this whole game without even looking at a guide. There actually are a couple things, though. There's a couple miscellaneous achievements where you have to go to, like, a specific place on the map, like when you have to find the person who's buried in the sand. Like, that would be, like, it's way easier if you just look up where they are, because I don't know how you would find that on your own. But it's just little stuff like that. Like, pretty much this whole game you can do without a guide. So this is one I would definitely recommend if you're getting into achievement hunting on Steam. Anyways, after that we got The Last of Us Part 1. This is the remaster, I don't know what you call it. I think it is technically a remake of the first Last of Us game on Steam. This was the first time it was on Steam because, it used to be a PlayStation exclusive. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's probably played this game already, so I don't know that I can really add anything that hasn't been said. I will say there's also so I think this is the only incantation. Is incantation like a spell? Because that's not what I mean. Incarnation, I think, of the first Last of Us game on Steam. On PlayStation, there was also the remastered version long before this remake. And on PlayStation, this remake is way, way easier to platinum than the remaster, because there's no... first of all, there's no online trophies, but also there's just, like, the actual achievements for playing through the game are a lot more straightforward. So, yeah, on Steam, this is pretty easy. There's nothing online. The online doesn't even exist anymore. And I believe, if I recall correctly, most of the achievements are just for finding all the collectibles. So if you do that, it's pretty easy. I did follow a guide for this one, obviously, for the collectibles, because when there's 4 million missable collectibles, I'm not going to just wing it and be like, I hope I find everything. Otherwise, I'm going to replay this game 3 more times. After that, we got Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. This should, without a doubt, be a DLC or like an expansion for Far Cry 3. It basically is. Like, I feel like maybe it was made with that in mind. But it's a standalone game. It's like futuristic Far Cry 3, and there's also dinosaurs, or I guess they're dragons. Whatever. It's really short. I only had 6 hours. For some reason, for those of you who don't know, even though these games were released a long time ago on Steam, Ubisoft just got around to adding Steam achievements for these games. So like within the last year, maybe year and a half. So that's why I did these now. And for some reason, when I did this, Steam Hunters auto invalidated times under 10 hours for all the Ubisoft games, which is, I guess, believable. Like, I'm sure they still do here. That's why 10 hours, 7 minutes is the fastest, because if anybody did it faster than that, it gets invalidated. Like, I think Far Cry 3 would be possible to do legitimately under 10 hours. This game, though, Blood Dragon, is almost hard to do in over 10 hours unless you're really, really taking a long time. So I ended up fixing that, obviously, because my time, all these times count now. But yeah, this is a very, very quick one. There are a couple grindy achievements. I think there's one for like killing 20 dragons or something, 25 dragons. That takes a while, because they spawn kind of intermittently. But other than that, they're all pretty easy. There's also own all weapon attachments. I think that's just you have to have enough money to do that. And then there's the collectibles here and there. This is a really quick one, and at least a little bit fun. It's not like great. I don't love it, but it's good enough. Anyhow, after that we got SpongeBob SquarePants The Patrick Star Game. Now, if you watched the first 100, I did the Battle for Bikini Bottom remake, or whatever that was, remaster, on Steam. In the second 100, in the 200 part, I did the Cosmic Shake SpongeBob game. This time I did this SpongeBob game. Now, this one is much more kids-based. Somehow I'm the fastest on this. We'll get into that in a second. This was like clearly the most kids-based one. Like it's like it has the least like substance to it. But this one was still decently fun. It's also way shorter. I think the other two SpongeBob games I was around 10 hours. But this one's a lot more just like it's one open world, and you kind of just go around, and like most of the quests are pretty straightforward. It's like wash the slime off this building, or like collect all the treasure chests that are buried here. It's pretty easy and quick also. I think there's just maybe a few achievements that were... Yeah, a lot of the achievements are just one miscellaneous stuff, like the one-off stuff, and then the rest of it is pretty much just like do all the missions. So this was pretty easy. This was decently fun. Really not hard. Somehow I'm the fastest on Steam Hunters on here out of 34 people. I wasn't rushing this, and I also didn't use a guide. Like a guide wouldn't even really help you in this game, except for the miscellaneous stuff that you have to go to a specific location. I did use a guide for that, but like I don't know. I kind of just did this on my own. I don't know how I was the fastest, but like I said, there's really not a lot of substance to it. So I don't know how the other 33 people all took longer than me. Anyways, after that we got Split Fiction. We really are on a stretch of pretty real games here. Most of you maybe are familiar with this. This is a co-op game made by the people of A Way Out, and It Takes Two. This one just came out this year. I will say this was probably my least favorite of those 3 games, but I didn't dislike this at all. I still thought this was pretty good. I will say, from memory, I feel like there's the least distinction between which character you're playing as in this one. Like, the other 2 games, it's like parts of it are a completely different game, depending on who you're playing as. So then if you play it again flipped, it's, basically like you're playing a whole new game. This one, in each mission, you basically, depending on which character you are, you have, like, your own powers. So occasionally you kind of split off and do your own thing, but for the most part, it's basically just like, okay, we need the one girl to do this thing because she's the one that turned into a monkey, and we need the other girl to do this because she's the one who turned into a bird, or what. I don't remember the animals you turn into in that one level. I think one of them's a gorilla, and the other girl turns into a tree or something. I don't know. I still like this, though. This one is pretty easy. Almost all of the achievements are just for beating the game, and then there's a few specific things, missable stuff you have to do as you go through. But the one that adds a lot of difficulty is this one. You have to complete the game show without the bomb exploding. Without this achievement, you could do all the rest of them with like the absolute stupidest, worst, because this is a forced co-op game. You have to play with somebody else. Everyone except this one, you could achieve with the absolute stupidest person alive, like the world's biggest moron, who's the worst video game player ever, could do the rest of these. This one, you need somebody with at least a little bit of skill to do. A pretty low bar, but still a little bit of skill. Basically, you just have to like throw this thing back and forth as you like go through a course. It's really not as hard as even I'm making it seem. I think me and Mufasa did this. I think we maybe did it on like our 5th try or something. And I don't mean to point fingers, but I never let the bomb explode once. So me and another me would have done it on our 1st try. So it's really not that hard. After that, we got Dishonored, Death of the Outsider. This is pretty much just Dishonored 2. I kind of feel the same way as like what I said about Blood Dragon. I feel like this could be an expansion for Dishonored 2. But it is really fun. I like the Dishonored games. I did Dishonored 2 a long time ago in 2021. Go watch the first 100 video if you want to see me talk about that. But this is fun. You basically, the achievements are pretty straightforward. Like, you do have to do a playthrough without getting spotted. Or maybe just without killing anybody. Do you have to do it without getting spotted? Oh, yeah, you do. So you do one playthrough without... Oh, you only have to do one level without killing anybody, right? Yeah. You just have to do a playthrough without getting spotted. And, like, that's kind of the gist of it. Oh, there is... In, like, New Game Plus, you have the old powers from Dishonored 2. And I think that makes it harder to do the don't get spotted playthrough. But I did do it on that playthrough, which makes it harder. But I don't know. And then most of the... So, maybe don't do that, but it's not, like, impossible because I did it that way. And then a lot of these other achievements are just for doing specific stuff in each level. I like the Dishonored games. I don't have the Platinum for Dishonored 1 on Steam, just because it's like the most work out of them. But yeah, this is fun. Most of these achievements are pretty easy to get. There's a few like collectibles, like paintings, but there's only like 2 in each level, and there's only like 4 or 5 levels, so it's not like there's 800 collectibles. I think there's like 9, so that's pretty easy. Okay, after that, here's a point of contention, folks. We have the Stanley Parable. Now, if you see over here, it says playtime 31 hours, but allegedly I got all these achievements in 7 hours and 41 minutes. So let's talk about that. So, for those of you who don't know, and clear, as you can see, there's a big red warning here. Essentially, 2 of these achievements are clock-based. Where am I? One of them is for not playing the game for 5 years, which this one is probably, I would assume, what this warning's for, because it is very easy to cheat this one by just changing your clock ahead 5 years and then playing, and then you get the achievement. So clearly Steam Hunter says you're not allowed to do that. But I didn't cheat at all for this one. As you can see from my achievements, I didn't play. It's actually almost 6 years I didn't play for. To be honest, this was just kind of a coincidence. I didn't go out of my way to do this because, like, 2015 I wasn't doing achievements, really not until 2020, maybe 2019. So, like, I came around to the Stanley Parable in 2021, and I'm like, hey, look, it's been 5 years since I played. Let me hop on here and get this achievement. So then the other, I'm going to get to why my time is weird here. So then these 2 achievements, you kind of have to cheat for this one. It's impossible to get this achievement. I believe if you open, there is a guide. I believe if you every time you open the game, there's like a 1 in a million chance that it unlocks this achievement for you. But if you open the console, you can make it so that it auto gives you this achievement when you like press T. And that's probably what the guide is. So if you count that as cheating, then you kind of have to cheat to get this achievement. So I don't count that as cheating at all. The other achievement is for playing the game for the entire duration of a Tuesday. That is 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. Midnight to midnight on a Tuesday. Now, this one well, I'll let you guys decide if I cheated on this one or not. So, I don't think... it seems like there's a kind of advanced way to cheat for this one, which is... because, listen, if you open the game at, like... If you set your clock to 11:59 on a Monday night, open the game, let it roll over to 12, and then change your clock to, like, 12 the next day so that it... it's like you played for the whole Tuesday. That does not work. That does not trick the game into thinking that you played for the entire duration of a Tuesday. So, in that way, that does not work. It seems like there is a super kind of advanced and murky way to cheat for this game that involves, like, rebooting your computer while the game is up, and that makes it think that you were playing the whole time. I don't know. I don't even understand how to do that, so I didn't do that. But what I did was maybe cheating. So let me tell you guys, and you guys can judge. And it has to do with why these times are weird. Basically, what I did was having the game open from 11:59 to 11:50 or to 12 was like, that's annoying as shit. So I didn't do that. What I did was on like a Monday, I don't know what day of the week this was. On a certain day, I opened the game, and then, well, actually on a certain day, I arbitrarily changed my computer time to 11:59 p.m. on Monday night, opened the game, and then left the game open for 24 hours starting from that point. So I did leave my game open for 24 hours. I played it for an entire 24-hour duration, but I did change my clock so that it seemed like the 24 hours was Tuesday and not just some other 24-hour period. Hopefully that makes sense what I just said. So if you guys think that's cheating, let me know. I think not. I feel like I captured the spirit of the achievement, which is basically leave your game open for 24 hours. But I did change my clock to achieve that, which is like, so maybe it's technically cheating for this, but I feel like in such a minor way. Like, I basically did the achievement. I just didn't, just the Tuesday thing didn't really work for me, so I had to do it for a different 24-hour period. So I don't know. If you think that's cheating, leave a comment and say, you bastard, Earl, you cheating bastard. I already get accused of cheating in my comments, like, anyways, like, you use Steam Achievement Manager. And it's like, no, I don't. Like, you guys can literally scroll through every game I ever have. If I was Steam Achievement managing this, it would be like Catch Me If You Can levels of, like, intricate shenanigans to try to trick people. It's like, buddy, it would be easier for me to just do the achievements, which is what I'm doing. And I'm up front when I do something that might be cheating, much like with this. So if you think that's cheating, let me know. And the reason that the time is off is because the Steam updates its clock in real time while you're playing, but then when you exit the game, it jumps your clock to where it should be if there was shenanigans. It updates your time like that on Steam, so like it would add 24 hours to your playtime, but then as soon as you quit, Steam like jumps the time back to where it really should be, if it discounting your shenanigans. And so that's, I think something along those lines is why my playtime is weird like this, because I think I actually updated my Steam Hunters profile while I was still in game after it unlocked the achievement. So like for some reason Steam thought I only had 7 hours in game, but then as soon as I quit, because of the time clock stuff I did that might be cheating or might not be cheating, then it immediately jumped my time to this value. So I think that's why the time is off like this. But yeah, I don't know. But anyways, the point is, leave a comment if you think what I did was cheating. I think it was like half cheating, but not enough to like talk about it or worry about it. Alright, after that we got Please Don't Touch Anything 3D. This is a VR game, sort of. If you guys know Please Don't Touch Anything, I did that in the first 100. It's basically like a puzzle game. You're just touching different stuff, different buttons, and it does different stuff. This is the exact same game, except it's 3D, which means nothing unless you're playing it in VR, which is an option, and then it's a VR game. This one also has a weird playtime thing, and I can explain what I did that was weird in this game. I have no idea why that would make the playtime different, though. As you can see, there is a flag here about conditionally obtainable achievements. There's achievement in this game for getting every other achievement, as there is in a lot of games. But the trick about this one is that if you play... so let's just pretend that achievement doesn't exist for a second. If you get the last achievement in VR, then it just pops the last achievement for having all the achievements, and then you're done, no problem. But if you unlock the last achievement in not VR mode, and you hadn't just done all of the achievements in one sitting, the other 20 also, then it does not unlock that last achievement for having all the achievements, and you're permanently stuck. In other words, in order to get the achievement for having all the achievements, you have to either play the entire game in one sitting on not VR mode, and then get all the achievements, and then you'll get it. Or just make sure you save at least one achievement to do in VR, and then it works no matter what. I didn't know this was a thing, and I didn't do that, so I got 21 achievements out of VR, and didn't get the achievement for unlocking all the other achievements. So at that point, you're, in theory, stuck permanently. But what you can do is go in the Steam console and relock one of your achievements, preferably a very easy one, like the one for just pressing the button once. relock that achievement. Then you can go back into VR specifically, re-unlock that achievement by pressing the button once or whatever, and then it will unlock the achievement for having all the achievements. Now, that's certainly not cheating. If you try to tell me I was cheating to do that, then you're ridiculous, because I basically had permanently locked myself out of the platinum if I didn't do that. I have no clue why that made this playtime do what it did, because I have not played that game since then. So I don't know how it did that with the time, but that's why. I just don't know the how. After that, we got NVIDIA VR Funhouse. This is another VR game, obviously, by the title. It's just like Funhouse games. There's like, there's like a bunch of different stuff. There's like shooting plates and stuff. But a few of these achievements are like almost bugged or at least just super annoying. So I will say that if you're interested in doing this one. One of the mini games is basketball, and you just shoot the basketball. Sounds easy. It is easy. But one of the achievements is for dunking the basketball. And depending on what size room you're playing in, and I think my ceilings are decently high, the basketball hoop is physically too high that you can't dunk, because if you try to dunk, you'll hit your own ceiling in your room in real life, and you can't get high enough to dunk it. So what you can do on Steam is like scale like your Steam VR setup. So basically, like, what you can do is make yourself huge compared to the environment. So that's what I did. I was like Gulliver's Travels, and I grabbed the basketball and just reached out and dunked it like a little tiny hoop. If you guys know the movie Gulliver's Travels, do people know Gulliver's Travels? This was basically me. This was basically me playing the basketball game when I dunked the thing. So, yeah. I feel like some of the other achievements were annoying too. There's like some of them are kind of glitchy. I don't know if they're just buggy or if they just are stupid. But yeah, and some of the actual like achievements are for getting scores on the certain games, and some of those are actually kind of hard to do. Anyways, after that we got VR the Diner Duo, another VR game. This is one where one person is the VR player is the chef making food, and the other co-op player, if you choose to have one, you don't have to, is the waiter who's playing on keyboard and mouse on a regular screen, and they like run the food and stuff. This one is interesting because if you watch my first video of the first 100, a lot of my rarest achievements are from this game. As you can see, 4 of them right here, and that's because these achievements do not work. They were broken at some point and don't unlock anymore. But you can fix it, as you can see from this like tag or whatever that they have on here. You can fix it by downgrading your game and playing on an older version, and then the achievements just work. So you have to force Steam to download an older version of the game. But if you do that, you can just get the achievements like normal, and it's actually pretty easy. As you can see, I'm the only platinumer of this on Steam Hunters out of only 25 people who've ever played on Steam Hunters who have an achievement, I guess. And that's because I guess I'm the only person who went out of my way to make the achievements unlockable. But if you want to do this, it is a pretty easy one. It does not take 15 hours. A lot of that was just spent on me doing my own thing. There's also the achievements for... You have to get 3 stars on every level, and I believe they have to all be on either solo mode or group mode. You can't mix and match. But that's like the only caveat to this, I think. But yeah, here, as you can see, you can fix them by downloading an older version of the game, which is what I did. After that, we got Beat Saber. This is a great VR game. I'm sure you're all familiar with this. Basically, it's a rhythm VR game where you're listening to songs and you have to hit the blocks as they come at you with your lightsabers. Really fun VR game. Basically, the achievements are pretty straightforward. A few of them are kind of tough because you have to on 15 levels, you have to get an S rank on Expert. Or actually, well, I think that's here somewhere. Yeah, you have to get an S rank on at least 15 levels, which is like the highest rank you can get. And then also on Expert, you have to do 15 levels without missing a single block. Some songs are like, that's like an impossible feat for me, at least, because I feel like I'm an averagely skilled person at Beat Saber. But especially the base levels, like the default levels in the game, aren't too bad. I think the 15 I did were mostly made up of like the packs 1 and 2, which are free, by the way, so anybody can do those ones, assuming you bought the game, of course. But they're not DLC, I mean, or custom levels. And then I did a couple from the Mike Shinoda pack, because some of those were pretty easy also. And yeah, I think a couple of them I did first try perfect or S rank of like the default levels. But most of them, I don't know that any of them took me more than like 5 tries. It's really not that hard if you're like, as long as you're an average to decent Beat Saber player. There's also one for getting SS on an expert difficulty, which is like the next, is like basically the ranks are about how good you flick your wrists, like how sharp of a flick you make. So this one's kind of tough. Personally, I don't know if this helps anybody, but I did this on the Billie Eilish "Happier Than Ever" song. That's how I got this achievement. It's probably not the easiest way to do it, but I had done that song a good number of times, and so I was able to do it. But yeah, it would probably be easier for you guys or for anybody to do it on one of the base levels, but that's just how I did it. And also an achievement for having 24 hours in game time, and that was actually the last achievement I got. So I did everything else like decently fast. But I had been playing this game for years. I just decided to do the achievements this past summer. After that, we got Final Fantasy 2. I know we started with Final Fantasy 1. All my thoughts pretty much are the same for this one. This is kind of like the forgotten redheaded stepchild of the first 6 Final Fantasy games, but I like this one. I actually kind of like the way you level up in this game, but other than that, it's pretty similar to the first one, so there's not really much I can say there. Frog Detective 3. I did the first 2 Frog Detectives in the last video. It's kind of just, it's a really short, stupid game. There's not really anything I can say about that. MC Pixel 3. This one's a weird one. Basically, there's like a bunch of little, it's like a pixel game, and basically, like, see, that's what's going on. It's like little cutscenes you watch, and like, depending on what you click, your guy does something different, and like, 99% of the things you click on, your guy dies, like, horribly, and like, each level you have to figure out the right things to click on to not die horribly. They're all about stopping something from exploding. You have to click on the right things to not explode everything. It's a decently fun game. You kind of have to use a guide for this because there's 93 achievements, and most of them are just like, you clicked on this specific thing. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward game. After that, we got a game about digging a hole. Boy, sorry folks, this video is still pretty long. I guess I am talking a lot longer about these ones. So I'm speeding up a little bit. This one it's a game about digging a hole, believe it or not. This would be long as crap to do, but you can click on a little square on the patio and get unlimited money. So I did that because that's not cheating, because that's an intended thing in the game. And that makes everything easier. And then once you get to the bottom of the hole, there's giant mole monsters that try to eat you, which was a big twist that I was not expecting. After that, we got Garden Story. This is like Stardew Valley, but like the great value version of Stardew Valley. You kind of just go. It's really nothing like Stardew Valley. It's not a farming game, but 90% of this game is just like you keep waking up on the next day, and it's like, here's 2 tasks to go do, and they're like, go to this area and like chop a tree down, and then go back and sleep. That's like 90% of the gameplay cycle in this game. After that, we got Yeah, You Want These Games Right? So here you go. Now let's see you clear them 2. I did the first one in the last video. It's basically those games on the ads that are like clickbait ads, false advertising, but this is actually those games. The achievements are all for just clearing all the levels with like 3 stars. But much like the first game, there's a stupid achievement for getting 1 million coins, which takes forever and basically requires you to go in and do your daily challenges for like 3 months worth of days. So that's why this takes so long. And that's why it was 13 hours. After that, we got Mouthwashing. This is a indie game. This was kind of popular for a minute, like a few months ago, or maybe earlier this year. It is very story driven, so I don't want to spoil anything. Except these are maybe kind of spoilers, but yeah, it's the gameplay is kind of, again, just walking around. It's kind of like a puzzle game. But yeah, this speedrun achievement is kind of took a few tries, but it's nothing crazy. Sorry, I'm speeding up now because I talked for way longer than I thought I was. Next up, we got Monument Valley 2. I don't even need to click on this one. This is a super simple puzzle game. It's like messing with perspectives. I did the first one a long time ago. Nothing new about this one. After that, we got Spider-Man 2. Here's a big game. I have done Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales on Steam. This is definitely the worst of those 3 games. I'd kind of say by far. I don't know. It's pretty much the same as the first 2 games. It's just like if you took the first 2 games and made them not as good. Yeah, I don't know. The story's kind of lame, but I don't even really care that much about that. I also don't like Like, it felt like a lot of it was a lot of the same. You know what I mean? I don't know. A lot of people don't. It's not an unpopular opinion for me to not like this one as much as the first two. So, uh, make your own opinions on that. After that, we got Paw Patrol the movie, Adventure City Calls. This is basically just there's a few levels where you like run around and collect stuff. Super simple kids game. After that, we got Viewfinder. This is a this was the one of the PS Plus Essential games last month, September, and so a lot of people probably played this. Basically, it involves around you're getting pictures, and when you this is also a game that messes with perspective. Basically, you're getting pictures, and when you hold them up, and then it makes that into the environment in real life based on the perspective of how you're looking at it. That might sound really confusing and not make any sense, but it's a puzzle game based on that premise. This is a pretty fun one, and it's on the shorter side. What was that? I had 4 hours. Pretty fun and easy. And also, if you have PS Plus and you collect your monthly games every month, I would recommend go playing this one. It's an easy plat on PlayStation if you play on PlayStation, and if you collected it in September when it was a free game. After that, we got Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. This is pretty similar to that Garden Quest, Garden Story game. You basically just go around. You have to fight a few enemies, and like everything you come up, you rip it up. Every piece of paper you get, the whole game's about ripping up papers, and so that's what 90% of the achievements are for. There's also at the end there's like a boss fight rush mode, but it's not that hard. After that, we got Is This Seat Taken? This is a pretty straightforward puzzle game where like you have a bus, for instance, worth of seats, and then you have like so many people, and each person has like a list of constraints on how to sit them. Like this person's like, don't sit me next to Tommy, but do put me in a window seat. So then you got to figure out where you can sit them, and then also place Tommy, and then also place everybody else, so that everybody's constraints are met. So it's a pretty fun, also pretty pretty straightforward game. High completion rate, pretty fun. And then we're at number 250 officially, folks. And for the first time ever, for the final game I talk about in one of these videos, I actually went out of my way to line it up to be a meaningful one. So this is by far the highest hour playtime in this video, and it is Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy. Now, I did the Phoenix Wright Trilogy in the first 100 episode. If you're familiar with these games, then great. There's the investigations where you have to like find stuff, and then these are basically virtual novels, and then there's the court days where you have to be like, oh, you're lying because here's this evidence that shows that you're lying. As you can see, I have 80 hours. The average is 96. And the first trilogy, the Phoenix Wright Trilogy, is like both of these numbers are way lower. I think I'm at about 44 hours, and the average is probably around there also. So this is much longer, these 3 games, as opposed to the first 3 games. Now, I didn't expect this video to go this long, so sorry. Thanks for sticking with me. But part of the fact that I thought I was going to have extra time is I kind of threw together a tier list of my thoughts of the Ace Attorney cases. This is for both. This is the first and second trilogy. So let me go through this for a minute, because I'll talk about Apollo Justice just because it's the end of the video. So folks, if you don't care about Ace Attorney, thanks for watching. Feel free to click off right now. But for anybody who does, I'm gonna go through this briefly. This is every case across the first 6 games, which is the 2 trilogies. I haven't played the investigations games or the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I probably will do those eventually, but this is my thoughts on the cases of the first 6 games. I tried to pick images that are pretty clear because only the last 2 games have like their own like standout images. Maybe Apollo Justice does too, actually. But yeah. So here's my case. Here's what I think about all the cases. Just some standout ones. I put the last case from Apollo Justice in the bottom tier because that's the only case in the entirety of Ace Attorney where I'm confused on, like, by the end of the case, I'm still not really sure that I know what happened. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's too much going on here. There's 7 years in the past and the present day that you're kind of playing both at the same time. Very confusing. And basically, like, the crux of this case, mild spoiler, for the last case of Apollo Justice, is that the dude who died because he accidentally licked something that was poisoned 7 years ago, and Like, the murderer wasn't even trying to kill him right now. He was trying to kill somebody else 7 years ago, and this dude accidentally smacks his lips on a poison stamp and dies, like, years later. And it's like, bro, that's what we've been investigating this whole time? I put, what is this, 5-2 last, because it's, like, the super filler case. Also, 6-4? I don't know. These two are, like, the most two filler cases, so they ranked pretty low. What else stands out here? As you can see, I much prefer the first trilogy, just based on how these are positioned. 6-2. Oh, this 6-2. I think is a pretty good one. I think this would have been. I think other people have said this, but I think this would have been a much better final case for Apollo Justice than what we got. And yeah, Trials and Tribulations is definitely my favorite game, as you can see from just my placement of these cases. My top 3 are the final 3 from the first 3 games. So that's probably not a coincidence. But yeah, leave a comment if you horribly disagree with any of this. I also put Big Top a lot higher than I think a lot of people would put Big Top in the bottom tier. And the Furio Tigre one. I don't remember what that case is called. Anyhow, that's going to do it for this video. This was still ended up being an hour, so I think it's probably better that I do 50 at a time instead of 100 at a time. Because 100 at a time is just like, I had to really speed through them. So I think this was a bit better of pace, because this video is still going to end up being about an hour. But I got to talk about stuff for longer. So I would expect the next video to be at 300. Don't know how long that'll be. I tend to get about 50 a year. I tend to get 50 about every 14 months. So maybe like end of 2026 is when I'll make the next video of this. Because it was like 2 years between the ones when I was doing them 100 at a time. But yeah, let me know if you guys like this video. Like I said in the description, the link to the first 2 sets of this. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching, folks.